Hey, you. Yeah, you watching the video. I spent $1,200 to sound treat this studio space, which included wrapping these sound panels, of which there are 4. One here, I don't know if you can see that, and 2 in the background. I put a bunch of mats on the floor to absorb sound. I hung up backdrops on the side. You can see the black backdrop over there along that wall. And then if you look behind you here, the biggest thing that we did was we built a giant rollable sound blanket wall. So that's doing quite a bit as well. If you want to see where that $1,200 went, what everything here costed, go ahead and watch this video. Maybe you'll get something out of it. And if you're looking at sound treating your space as well, maybe you can steal some ideas from me. Let's do it. And this is what the room sounds like with 0 sound treatment. This room is just a big rectangular box with either cement block walls on 3 sides and 1 drywall, and kind of a low ceiling, so not a great place sonically. Let's go ahead and do a guitar test to see how the room sounds with no sound treatment for that. So I want you guys to see all the steps that I took to sound treat this studio space if you're looking to do something yourself, maybe even with a smaller space. If you don't know, this room is just part of my new apartment. It's an attached room to my garage, and I think it was just originally designed to be used as a storage space because it has a cement floor and cinder block walls and 1 drywall. Obviously not designed to be a studio, but it's decent in size, and we didn't have a bunch of stuff to store in here, so I decided to repurpose it as a studio. Originally, the floor was just filthy dirty, and there's some paint cans in the corner, so I got to work on the room. First, I swept it all out, and then I mopped it, and then I mopped it again because it was just filthy. And once the floor was a lot more clean, I went to Lowe's, and I went to Lowe's a couple times for this project, and I bought these 6-foot by 8-foot sort of garage mats. I don't know really how to describe them. They're really thin. I got 4 of those, and they took up, most of the floor in here, but not quite all of it. And it was also really thin, so while it made it look a lot more aesthetically pleasing, it wasn't doing a lot in terms of sound treatment. The next thing I did was take some photography backdrops. My friend got me these like 12-foot long black photography backdrop muslin material. He got it for me for a short film I was shooting to block out windows to shoot night scenes during the day to stop the light from coming in the window. But so I had 4 of these things lying around, and I put them up on, I have a photography backdrop on this side that is meant to hold a backdrop like that, and then I just have another one of those backdrops clipped on top of it, so it's doubled up. And then on this side I have 2 stands with boom arms, and they're sticking in, and I just have the backdrop pulled taut on that side, and that's also doubled up, so it's doubled up on both sides. And for the most part, it's not doing a ton in terms of sound treatment. It's definitely doing something. It's not doing nothing, but really what it's doing mainly is stopping light from bouncing off of the walls, so it's black instead of the white walls like it was before, and it just helps me control my lighting a little bit more. Next, I was given 2-foot by 4-foot sound panels by another friend, my friend Luke, who used to be my roommate. He gave me these sound panels that he helped make with his bandmate way back in the day. They're made out of, wrapped in like burlap, and it's kind of rough, and it sheds hairs and stuff. And as you can see, these are the ones that have like beer spilled on them and stuff, so it doesn't look good. The yellow doesn't look good. And then the back, this is the soundproofing material inside, is exposed, and that also kind of falls out over time. But we're going to wrap them, starting with wrapping the back, so this stuff is now contained in it. In the end, they're all going to look like this one, which we did complete, and it looks much nicer. I bought some acoustic fabric that was designed for wrapping sound panels specifically, and I wrapped all 4 sound panels, and they're wrapped front and back now, so the material doesn't fall out. They look much better. They're just black, and I made them so you can hang them either horizontally or vertically now. So I have 2 behind me hung vertically and 2 off to the side / in front of me hung horizontally, and they do a pretty good job at managing reflections in the room. And then next, so I did a lot to this room, as you can tell. Next, I I saw this video years ago by DSLR Video Shooter, or Caleb Pike, if you know that YouTube channel, and he had this video on this giant rollable sound blanket wall, which I always thought was super cool, but if you looked at the materials, it was really expensive to make. But I decided if I was going to be working on this room, I decided to go ahead and make that, and then it would double as something I could take on a location to help make sound better if I was filming on a location, because I do, I'm a full-time videographer, so I figured it might be a good investment to go ahead and make one of these, and so I did. So I went to vocalbooth2go.com and I bought 2 sound blankets that were 80 by 80 inch squares, like 6.5 feet, I think, 6.5 by 6.5 feet square. And these sound blankets in particular that I bought are black on one side and white on the other. So these are also used for lighting, either as negative fill or just as a fill. And I got ones with grommets. So there's 8 grommets on them that I'm using to hang on a stand, and it does just a fantastic job. It essentially closes off the room and makes it sonically smaller, and just stops the reflections from getting on the other side of the room that I didn't have the budget to sound treat. In order to wheel that around, I bought an impact rolling stand on B&H for about $150, and in order to hang the sound blankets, I had to make a trip to Lowe's, which is about another $200 to get an oak board. In the video that I watched by Caleb Pike, his sound blankets had 5 grommets, but mine have 8. So I had to buy 8 carabiner clips to hang them, and then 8 eyelets, and that ended up adding up to quite a bit of money. In order to hang these sound blankets on this board, I had to figure out where to drill the holes and measure it all out. But it ended up turning out really good, and my girlfriend helped me with the board, drilling the holes, and she helped me with a lot of stuff. So shout out to her. Thank you, Maya, for all the help with the studio, essentially helping me do like manual labor. Once I had done all of that stuff, at that point I consulted my friend Nick Stallman, who is a really genius musician. He's an excellent guitarist, and he is really great at recording music as well. He just knows a lot about audio, a lot more than I do.
Don't mind the sock, it's just so that way it holds it in there in place. Like, it looks ridiculous, so I don't know if that matters for your YouTube video or not.
He showed up and he went just above and beyond what I was even expecting. He brought an omnidirectional microphone that had a very flat response, and he set up a speaker, and it went through all of these different frequencies. It sounded insane.
What we're doing here is we're getting a sweep signal from that speaker to this microphone from 20 hertz to 20K. And the idea is to measure the reflection from that point where you would typically be talking to this microphone to see what happens in the room as a response to that full sine wave sweep.
Like, it was above my pay grade in terms of things I understand about audio, but he basically recommended that I put down a thicker rug, a big floor mat on the floor, and that I do some treatment behind me here. So I put these sound panels up here, and I ended up purchasing 2 things to put on the floor in my recording space. The first thing I bought was a 10-foot by 10-foot, half-inch thick sound absorbent rug that is meant to kind of cushion when it's meant to be put under another rug, and it kind of cushions your feet, and it also absorbs sound. And then I put another 12-foot by 15-foot black rug over top of that I custom ordered from Lowe's again. But that did quite a bit. That actually did more than probably anything else would have done, is just putting a thicker rug down and managing the reflections. Like, this is a pretty thoroughly treated room with all of this stuff going on, to be honest. And that is the extent of what I've done so far. The other thing that Nick recommended I do was put up some foam. He said that foam would help out with the specific sort of mid-tone frequencies. These sound panels that I have behind me and in front of me are better for lower frequencies, and they're called bass traps, I think. It would be better if I got some foam in here, but that is out of the budget right now because I ended up spending a total of about $1,200 on all of these things between all of the Lowe's trips and making the giant sound blanket wall. That was about $500 itself. All of those things added up, and to sound treat a room like this, you know, think about a professional studio that's a much larger room and they're doing even more sound treating. Think about the amount of money that they're investing into that when I'm putting that amount of money into a space like this. Luckily, all this stuff that I put up is movable because this is an apartment. This isn't a permanent residence. So these are on stands, and the mats on the floor aren't like carpet. It's just a mat. So all of this can be moved to my next studio space. And this $1,200 I spent is just an investment in my recording space that I can move with me to wherever I go next. So I figure it's, you know, $1,200 isn't that much when you think of it that way. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate you following along and listening to me rant about my passion project for this video. This has been a couple months of work, and I'm really happy with the result. I think it sounds really great in here. What do you think when you're listening with your best pair of headphones? Comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave a like as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.